So those inside the buyout, you can take your seats. We're going to go into just a little history as promised about this celebration. And we're truth seekers, and we want to honor our King as always. And part of honoring our King is destroying the lies that we learned inside Christianity. So if you have your scrolls, family, and those online, please let me know if the screen ever freezes up and you can't see the presentation. Let us know so we can let the technology work out the kinks. But we're going to go and share with you the actual crucifixion of our King.
SELAH, Moray, before you get too far, Sister Barb, she says she thanks the Most High for his provision, his protection, his mercy, and giving her more understanding.
All praise, Sister B. All praise, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. So we want to go and honor the true Passover lamb, and we're going to share some history as promised and show you that our King, the only begotten Son, the Lion of Judah, he was not slain on actual Passover, as we learned in Christianity. Those coming in, welcome to the feast, welcome to Second Pesach. Just be mindful to mute your background so we won't hear your conversation. But we're going to go and show you some history. And the first part of this was right in our so-called Bibles the whole time. So my aunt is going to help as always, and we're going to share with you the true Passover of our lamb. So the first precept we're going to is Yahawashai'S chapter 19 and verse 14. John chapter 19, verse 14. Shema, when you have it.
The book of Yahawashai'S 19, verse 14. And it was the preparation of the Pesach, and about the 6th hour. And he said unto the Yahawashai'S, behold, our King, or your King.
So this right here gives us a context clue of when they slaughtered our King. John is saying it was the preparation of Passover. And all of us know, most of us been in the way now enough and studied to know, the preparation means the day before, just like we do for Shabbat, or we try to do for Shabbat. So it wasn't Passover, it's the preparation of Passover, and the text say it was about the 6th hour. So we don't count hours in Israel, so this hour thing came from Babylon, but for the sake of argument, we're going to say about the 6th hour will be somewhere when the sun is at its zenith, about 12 noon. So about 12 noon, what happened, verse 15?
But they cried out, away with him, crucify him. Pilate saith unto them, shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, we have no king but Caesar.
So it's the day of the preparation of Passover, and our wicked ancestors, the Israelites, Pilate's trying to save our king's life. Pilate had enough sense and had become familiar with the law enough. Pilate spit the law back to the Israelites. So you got a law that you can't crucify a man until you have a trial. And he told them the law, a heathen, and our wicked ancestors just said, crucify him, away with him. We have no king but Caesar. The takeaway, family, is the day of preparation of Passover. It's not Passover. Now let's drop down same chapter and let's get our king's last words. Let's get verse 30. Verse 30, John 19 and 30. John 19 and 30.
When Yahawashai therefore had received the vinegar, he said, it is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up the rawak.
He gave up the rawak. He gave it, and I love that he gave it up. They didn't take our king's life. He said, I lay down my life for my friends. So this is the same day, family. This is the day of preparation of Passover. And by order of count, this is the 13th. This is the 13th day of the first month. And our king has given his rawak back to his father. He said it's finished. Now, just for confirmation, let's read verse 31. John 19 and 31.
The Yahawashai, therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the execution stake on the Shabbat day, for that Shabbat day was an high day, besought Pilate that their legs might be broken and that they might be taken away.
So you have to understand Hebrew culture to understand this count here. So it was the customs of the Romans, and of course Pilate, Herod is an Edomite, but he was following the ways of Rome because Rome set him up. So when you got crucified, family, you didn't come down that same day. You stayed on the cross for like 3 days as mockery. So everyone can see, look at this criminal. Look at this filthy criminal. Yeah, he robbed my brother. Yeah, he raped my sister. So their custom was to crucify you, but leave you so the world can see and walk past and wag their head. So because a high Sabbath was coming, and that's a new term for the New Testament, Salakia. Every Sabbath that we start unleavened bread, it's a high Sabbath because it's a Shabbat, it's a lunar Shabbat, and we're going into a feast. So you don't read or hear about the term high Sabbath in the Tanakh because that's a New Testament, that's a Gentile thing. They're trying to decipher our way of life. So because they knew if they leave him on a cross 3 days, they're going to be defiled for the feast coming up and for the Sabbath. So they're taking him down that same day they crucify him, and that's like a way of honoring him. Don't let him stay up on the cross as a criminal. So we have our time marker here. It's the 13th of the first month, and our king has given up the ghost. This is our first witness. Let's apply the plumb line, and let's get another witness. Let's go back to Matthew 26. Let's go back to Matthew 26. And we're going to read Matthew 26, verses 2 through 4. I'm sorry, Salakia 5. Matthew 26, verses 2 through 5. Shemai, when you with us?
Shemai.
Read.
Ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Pesach, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. Then assembled together the chief priests and the scribes and the elders of the people unto the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas, and consulted that they might take Yahawashai by subtly and kill him. But they said, not on the feast day.
They said what?
Not on the feast day.
They said what?
Not on the feast day.
That's the second witness. Read on.
Lest there be an uproar among the people.
So these Israelites are wicked, but they're not stupid. And that Christianity story that they sold us in church, that all he had was 12 disciples that believed on him, is a lie. He had his 12 inner circle, then he ordained 70 more, but the whole nation started to believe on him because he was healing folks. So our whole city was filled with Israelites coming home, and these wicked Israelite rabbis says, we got to kill them, but we can't kill them on Pesach. So we get our timestamp right here. Yahawashai himself is speaking, saying, ye know that after 2 days is the feast of Passover. So simple math, if he's saying after 2 days is Pesach, this gives us the 12th of Abib. Now we read in John, he gave up the ghost the day of the preparation. The day of the preparation is the 13th of Abib because Passover is the 14th. These are hardcore timestamps. It's been in these books the whole time, but when you're indoctrinated in Christianity, you're in a whole group setting, you can't go against the grain because now you're a heretic. You're not saved. You're not born again. You don't have a PhD. You don't know what you're talking about. The same thing is happening inside the Israelite community. So that's our second witness. Let's get a third witness. Let's go to Mark. Let's go to Mark chapter 14. Mark chapter 14. Mark chapter 14, and all we need is verses 1 through 2. Verses 1 through 2. Read.
After 2 days was the feast of the Pesach and of unleavened bread, and the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might take him by craft and put him to death. But they said, not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar of the people.
Here's our third witness that our king was not slain on Passover. They slain him on the 13th of the first month because they knew they couldn't slay him with all these Israelites. There was already Israelites in the city because we turned this whole week into a celebration week. So we had Israelites in the city and more was on their way. more was on their way. So we have 3 witnesses that tell us our king, the real line of Judah, was not slain on the 14th Pesach. He was slain on the 13th. Now let's go into some history and get some secular history. This on your screen is a PDF, is a free of charge online, and Papias is a 1st century or 2nd century historian. I'm not sure if he's an Israelite or not, but he is contemporary with the apostles, and so he has records of what was happening after the Messiah was crucified. So we're going to read just an excerpt of Papias' work. Can anyone see that? Is it glare? You got to turn the light down. Don't want to turn the light down.
You can see it.
You good? Y'all good?
I mean, I got it right here.
Okay. As long as you can see it.
You want me to read?
It don't matter. It don't matter.
It says, as it happens, the testimony accumulates at once. Papias, as I have said, has information to give also regarding the Gospel of Matthew, which, through much less detail than his account of Mark, is nonetheless interesting. We must remember that these are the earliest traditions known to history concerning the origin of our Gospels, and the first allusions to either Matthew or Mark as a Gospel writer. They are therefore of importance far beyond their actual length. Matthew says, Papias transcribed the sayings in the Hebrew dialect, and each one interpreted them as best as he could.
So this is confirmation that that PDF of Hebrew Matthew that we have is verified. Matthew wrote his letter, his Besorah, his report in Hebrew. The rest of the brothers got it, and they translated it the best they could into Greek. It's verified, that Hebrew copy of Matthew. Sis, can you mute yourself for us, please? Can you mute yourself for us, please? So this is confirming that Hebrew copy of Matthew is verified. It's verified. Yeah, I'm trying not to do so much because I can't even find my pointer. Thank you, sis. Call your dog. So this is a copy of the Hebrew Matthew that Papias just referenced, right? This is the copy of the Hebrew Matthew, and this is the end of chapter 27 going into chapter 28. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So let's read the end of chapter 27, and let's go into the chapter 28. Let's get some history. I'm trying to get this out your way. And this is also this Hebrew copy of Matthew is also available online free of charge as a PDF. Let me do this.
I think you can click and drag it to the bottom.
That's what I wanted to do. It keeps popping back up.
Yeah, you can drag it. You can drag it down to the bottom. Just leave it there.
I hope it stayed there.
Uh,
I hope it stayed there. Call your dot. So we're going to read Hebrew Matthew, the end of chapters 27 going into 28. Read.
He came to Pilate and asked him for the body of Yahawashai. Pilate commanded that they should give it to him. Joseph took it and wrapped it in a very fine silk garment. He placed him in his own tomb, which had been freshly hewn from stone, and placed a large stone over the entrance of the tomb. On the morrow of the Passover, the chief priests and the Pharisees came to Pilate. They said to him, "Sir, we remember that this liar said, which still alive, that at the end of 3 days he would arise and come to life."
So let's break this down. Verse 62, is it?
62.
Verse 62 says, on the morrow of the Passover. What does that mean in our language today?
Tomorrow is the Passover. Oh,
On
Now,
the day of the Passover.
Queen,
It's the morning of.
it's the day, morrow for their language is the day after. So it's the morrow of the Passover. It's the tomorrow of Passover. It's the day after Passover. It's the 15th.
Okay.
And now they're saying, verse 63 saying, it's about 3 days. We remember this criminal says in 3 days, he's going to rise. So this gets us closer to our account. It's the day after Passover, the 15th, and they're saying 3 days is approaching. Well, you don't get 3 days approaching if you put him on the cross on the 14th.
Yeah.
You don't get 3 days. But if you do like we reclaim our culture and verify with text that they killed him on the 13th, and now it's the 15th, we're getting close to 3 days.
Yeah.
We're getting close to 3 days. Read on. Verse 62. 63, I'm sorry.
64.
64.
Therefore, command his tomb to be guarded until the third day, since perhaps one of his disciples might come and steal him. Afterwards, they might say to the people that he arose from death. If they should do this, the last perversion will be greater than the first. Pilate said to them, search out guards and guard it as well as you can. So they completed the structure of the tomb, sealed it, and placed a guard there.
Chapter 28.
On the first day of the week, early in the morning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the tomb. Then the earth shook because of the Malach of Yahweh descended from the Shemayim, or the heaven, to the tomb, overturned the stone, and stood still. His appearance was like the sun, and his garments like snow.
So this is the Malachi had already rolled the stone back. Our king is already risen, and y'all know the story. Mary is like, where's my king at? But for our purposes, our count is valid. The marvel of the Passover is the day after Passover, the 15th. Now on the first day of the week, the 16th begins our third week of every month. On the first day of the week, the 16th, early in the morning, our king is out the grave.
Hallelujah.
That's 3 days and 3 nights according to the Hebrew count, the Hebrew calendar. Rome can't do this. Rome's calendar would never do this. So this is how we know our king, the true line of Judah, he died the day before Passover, and he was risen early the first day of the week. All praise be to Abba Yah. Hallelujah. So with this information, armed with this truth, we can get a true calendar of our king. His sacrifice was offered on Ab Yab or Abba Yab the 13th. Messiah is offered. Pesach, the 14th, is his first day. Well, let me go back. The 13th, you can't count the day because he didn't give up the Rawak until about, what, 6 hours? 6 hours? So we can't count the day because he was still breathing on the 13th. So the 13th will be our first night. Pesach will be our first day, our second night. The Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is a weekly Shabbat and a feast day, will be day number 2, but it's the third night. He already satisfied the 3 nights. The beginning of the week, which is first fruits, and now we know he is first fruits. He is the first of many. This lines up with Yah. Yah is the master planner, family. Yah was going to get him out the grave on the 16th to be first fruit, to come back to him and offer himself. So the 16th, he's gone. He's risen. And he didn't go straight to heaven because we got a record. He told Mary what? Don't touch me. I haven't been to the Father yet. So he resurrected and still showed himself to Mary. And then he went and offered himself to be first fruits to Father. He's the first of many brothers, you and I. All praise be to Abba Yah. This is the true count of our Messiah. The line of Judah was killed on the 13th. The 14th, he was in prison preaching to the past generations. He resurrected for first fruits and offered himself to the Father, showed himself to the Father. So I thought I had one more. I must have saved it. Let me. Did it save? All right, give me 1 second, family. I'm gonna do it. I'm not in a rush. Queen, I know where you at. If you got it, I know what you're going through. So I'm going, if you're getting tired, I'm gonna pull up one more proof that it was the 13th they killed them on. I thought I had it in here. So give me 1 second. Let me pull up this PDF so y'all can see it for yourselves. I'm gonna pull up Pappy's PDF for y'all. So this is Pappy's PDF. Like I said, you can check Google Books. And this is what the cover looks like. I'm not sure if he's a pagan or not, but he did honor our Messiah, and he pretty much was a disciple of. He became a disciple of one of the apostles. I can't remember offhand. All of them like to claim John because John lived the longest. Let me do this. I'm going to get you right in here where he proves that it was. Let me bring this back down.
Yeah, because the New Testament, you know, the Greeks and all that stuff was around. So that's what it is. Like instead of saying Judah, they say Judas. So yeah, I think that's right.
Here we go. All praises. So this is Pilate's conversation with Herod. Herod was a Roman, but the Romans had given Herod, the Edomite, he's a Hebrew. Herod was given the area of Judea. So when they asked Pilate, when the Israelite elder Joseph asked Pilate for the body of Yahawashai, Pilate, out of respect, had to go ask Herod because Herod was given that land. So this is a conversation. Let me do this. So I'm going to read this, and I'm going to see how y'all process this. And Pilate sent to Herod and begged for the body. And Herod said, even if no one had asked for it, we should have buried him before the first day of unleavened bread, their feast, for the Sabbath was already dawning. And it is written in the law that the sun shall not go down upon one that is slain. Now, here's this confusion, and this is how you know these pagans don't understand our way of life. But the takeaway, I want y'all to process one more time. I'm going to read it one more time. I want y'all to process this. And Pilate said to Herod, and Pilate sent to Herod and begged for the body of Herod. What? Let me slow that. This coffee kicking in. This Starbucks kicking in. Let me start this over. And Pilate sent to Herod and begged for the body. And Herod said, even if no one had asked for it, we should have buried him before the first day of unleavened bread. What do y'all think about that?
That's skipped the Passat. That would mean that it would have been up at least a night. Because if he was crucified on the 13th, he would still be hanging up on Passat, which is the 14th. So he should have been taken down on the 13th at sundown.
You close. You right there. Anybody can help him out? Let's read it again. Even if no one had asked for it, we should have buried him before the first day of unleavened bread. We should have buried him before the first day of unleavened bread. What is unleavened bread?
A week before.
The 15th.
Right. So he said before, which is the 14th.
So if they killed him on the 14th, obviously you're going to bury him before the unleavened bread.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Why would you say surely was going to bury him before the unleavened bread if it's the 14th?
Right.
It's natural. You killed him on the 14th. If you killed him on the 14th and y'all taking him down on the 14th, he didn't have to say that. It's a given. The fact that Herod is saying, even if no one came begging, we was going to bury him before unleavened bread. this verifies that it was the 13th. Let me slow down. I'm getting hyped up and coffee got me. Herod is telling Pilate, even if no one had asked for it, we should have buried him before the first day of unleavened bread. So let me put the number in here. Even if no one asked for it, we should have buried him before the 15th, their feast.
Before the 14th, right?
Before the 5th, because unleavened bread is the 15th.
He said before the first. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So
he's saying
Before the 15th.
he's saying we should have buried him before the Passover.
we was going to bury him. We was going to bring him down anyway before unleavened bread.
Before unleavened bread comes through.
But if it's the 14th,
that would have been fulfilled.
yeah, it's
He would've
given.
said that.
It's no need to say that because y'all took him down that day. So this bears witness that it's the 13th.
And if you keep reading,
You scratch it. Don't you scratch it?
I don't know if you was gonna keep reading.
But it says also, is the parentheses an insertion?
I'm not sure if the editor did that or the publisher, but let's read it since we're here.
Okay, he says their feast for the Shabbat was already dawning. And that just goes to show the Shabbat is 8, 15, 22, 29. And that just that's something I saw there pointed out.
Knowing our system.
Yeah.
Knowing our system. So this is something you could download and you can peruse it. There's a lot of history in Papias. He's bearing witness that the apostles became the leaders and they stood up for righteousness. But this chapter, this page 58, it confirms that Yahawashai, the Lion of Judah, was slain way before Passover. Because if he was slain on Passover, the 14th, there's no need for Herod to say, oh, we was going to take him down anyway before unleavened bread. Because the 14th is before unleavened bread. So this is another witness. This is our fourth witness that our king, the one we're waiting on, he was crucified on the 13th. He was crucified on the 13th. And again, you can find this online, the works of Papias or the writing of Papias, and different links will come up. You can download the PDF free of charge. Free of charge. Any questions or comments about our king's true crucifixion? All praises.